It is about 6 o'clock in the evening on Wednesday the 19th of October 2022. I just fed the chicks. I put a pile of food there on top of an old bag. They're swarming it. I refilled the water. They ran out of water. The heating lamps were left on last night. We had no casualties from the cold. It did get down to freezing in the wee hours of the morning before the sun came up. Tonight it's going to get in the 40s. So I'm going to leave them on for tonight. These guys are little hungry monkeys. We've been feeding them about 12.5 pounds of feed a day. No, about 25 pounds of feed a day. So 50-pound bag every 2 days. What I want to do is I want to come back and see if there's any feed left after this feeding frenzy. If there is, I'm giving them too much. If there isn't, I probably need to give them some more. The other thing I'll do is I'll pick some up and feel their crop. Their crop should be full but not bursting, you know. And also the geese, I don't know how the geese are going to get their food. So the geese will probably be okay, at least for a couple weeks. But this is what a chicken feeding frenzy looks like. They've been going at it for like 2 minutes now. Let me pick up one of these poor guys. Here. Oh, you're complaining too much. Methinks thou dost protest too much, my lady. Let's get her in the sun. You see on the belly, they don't have very many feathers. But otherwise, they're completely covered. She's hot to the touch. Like, this would be a warm bath temperature. Maybe a lukewarm bath. I can feel the crop here with my index finger. And it's about, I'd say, a quarter full. She can probably eat about 3 times as much as she has. She should be good. Let's jump her in there. I don't know that they're unfair when they're eating like this. I assume they each need to learn how to be assertive, or I need to spread the food out more. Probably I'll spread the food out more. But I think I'm going to order a ton of feed. And if I have some left over, I'll use it later. Let me show you the tent setup for this area. I wasn't able to take a video of it. I was in a rush yesterday. So those are 8-foot long 2x4s. That's rope along the top. It's all tightened down with bowlines. And I got it as tight as I can get it. And those poles as straight as I can get it. The last time I did this, I wasn't as tight. I don't think the rope was stretched out either. So this time it seems to be holding really well. I did long lag lines here for the tent. So the tent is 16 feet by 12 feet. It's 12 feet along the top there. It's 16 from end to end. And so each flap is 8 feet. And so I have about 8 feet of rope. So that flap hangs down about 4 feet above the ground, which I think is enough. It doesn't touch the ground. If it were to rain, there might be some pooling, but last I checked, when it did rain, there was no pooling on the tarp. We didn't do a very good job of tightening at that time, though. I did buy a 15 mil tarp, which is the most expensive you can get in terms of thickness. The reason why is because the thinner stuff just tears. The wind will shred it to pieces. This stuff, it has like corners that are reinforced. The grommets seem to be pretty sturdy. I don't think I need to set up every single grommet, put a line. That's probably overkill. But I think this will do fine in the wind. We did have some windy days. The real purpose of this tarp is to shield them from the heat of the sun, which probably isn't going to be a big deal for the rest of the year. But the other purpose is to shield them from the hawks. So if the hawks come by, the chicks have someplace they can hide from the hawks. So in addition, I put them in a field with an area with a bunch of goatweed, because the chicks like to hide in the bushes, especially at this age. So that's what they were trying to do in the last area. See here, there's so many bushes in their area that they don't have to leave the pen. The pen is also electrified. I think some of the chicks have been affected by it. I don't know if they've learned. When I went to feed them this time, a couple chicks got out, but they put themselves back in. I think one needed a little help. This is where I spilled some feed. I tried hand feeding. They were very amenable to hand feeding. They're very friendly birds. Let's see if I can get this one. Yep. They're very amenable to me touching them. I'm not sure why that is. I don't know if it's just me or maybe people in general. Yep. Go ahead and hop down. Yep. So the only other thing I think I might add to this system is some kind of roost. Basically, I just take a board and suspend it in the air. Maybe connect these 2x4s with a 12-foot long pole in the middle, so they can roost in the middle. The only problem I see with that is it getting in the way of the heating lamps, which are on right now for tonight. I'll turn them off tomorrow morning because tomorrow night's going to be like 50. They should be fine in that temperature. So yeah, that clicking in the background, if you're wondering, that's the fence charger. So I got a 4600W from Speedrite. I think that's almost the best one you can buy. I wanted to overcharge my field. Greg Judy counsels that you want a strong charger, and the solar ones they don't quite do it. The better chargers will give you a strong voltage even when there's a little bit of leakage due to the grass or whatever touching the bottom line, which after a while sorts itself out. After a rain, there's a little bit more conductivity, but that's not a big deal. I also have a lot of spare wire here, which probably isn't good. Are you having fun there? Sitting on your belly eating food? I don't feed them in dishes. Number one, I don't have a dish big enough. I don't think it's worth the expense. And number two is I like them pecking around at the ground and finding bugs and seeds to eat. That's why I have them out here, right? The goal isn't to stop them from eating off the ground. The goal is to teach them to eat off the ground, right? And if they can fill up on whatever insects they can find, I'm more than happy. That's extra protein as far as I'm concerned, extra nutrition. Also, their manure and their activity helps to spur growth in an area. How long will I stay here? I don't know. I haven't seen much damage yet to this area. I probably can keep them here another 3 days, maybe a whole week. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I might decide to move them sooner rather than later based on what happens. But I think moving them when they're so young is probably not very good. They need to get used to the fact that they live outdoors now. Wow, you're following me around. Oh! Yeah. They swarmed me when I first came. I think because they know I have food. So that's the story on the chicks. When they're bigger, they're going to make a lot more poo and they're going to eat a lot more food. I have to move them more often because they really stink up the place. So that's the story on the chickens. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye-bye.